everybody. I guess maybe some oh time to chat with the audience on a walk and talk. Haven't done it for a while, and I've got this phone I haven't used yet. Should have some pretty good stabilization in it. So let's see. We're 20 seconds deep. I see nobody in here. I really hope that we're actually public, but who knows at this point with YouTube, everybody? Like, we're just at this point where I have no idea. There's one person. We got one in there. Great news. All right. So, first of all, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. And I just want to thank everybody out there who continues to support my work. Check me out beyond just the major platforms, right? Still not a person. Tell me that this, somebody go in the chat, please. There's 2 thumbs up. Jeez. Oh, there we go. 12 people. Fantastic. Fantastic. So I just want to talk about my shows for a while. First things first, making sense of the madness. I am so blessed to have that show. And first of all, I'm blessed to have anybody paying me to talk. And I just want to say this. On all of my shows, whether it is on Patriot TV, over at TNT, even when I was hosting the 4th hour of the Alex Jones Show, and we'll also talk about that just really briefly. No one tells me what to say. Like, that's just never going to be a thing. No one's ever going to tell me what I can talk about and what I can't talk about. That being said, a lot of people are upset for some reason that I'm talking to people that don't agree with me. Well, I don't know what to say because once again, I don't seek these people out, but I got to be honest with you. Like, when I get a senior editor at Breitbart on for an hour, I want to talk to that guy. He doesn't have to agree with me. Like, we don't agree on a lot of things. I mean, go rewatch that interview. But at the same time, the tone is civil. And I want to hear what these people really think. And they can think I'm wrong all day long. And I can think they're wrong. But let's flesh out their arguments, right? So let's talk about some other interviews. I just posted that interview with the longtime CIA lawyer and operational officer. Now, do I believe everything the guy told me? No. He's in the CIA and he's a lawyer. My God. Did I thoroughly enjoy that conversation? 100%. I mean, how often am I going to have the opportunity, kind of just at random, to talk to somebody who actually worked on the Sandy Berger 9/11 case and the David Petraeus case? Oh my goodness. Like, that's kind of a thing. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. And once again, the guy talked about JFK. He acted like there wasn't going to be any there. And you wonder also how much each of these agencies that are involved in covert ops are putting stuff on paper or keeping records, period. Digital, hard copies, or otherwise. I don't know. He said people are going to be disappointed by the last documents that come out. But then he also said he doesn't believe that Oswald shot Kennedy. Okay, right? Interesting. On top of that, let me flesh out what he said about 9/11 and Sandy Berger, and Berger working for the Clintons at the time. Now, the prevailing ideology, or narrative, if you will, surrounding those documents was the idea that Clinton was covering up the fact that he had the opportunity to get bin Laden, had the intelligence, and failed to kill him prior to that, or blah, 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 blah. What if it's worse than that? What if it's actually the connections of envoys of the Clinton administration with the Mujahideen and the bin Laden network before Al-Qaeda, right? Now, had I used the term Al-Qaeda, would that have gone over well with that guy? Probably not, but at the same time, I don't think he would have walked out on me. Maybe the tone would have been a little bit more hostile, but whatever. Like, I think that those documents could have been a plethora of things that Sandy Berger smuggled out of there. And by the way, I'm going to be highlighting that part of the interview coming up to the 9/11 anniversary, I'm also going to be cutting up my films and posting them on Twitter, and hopefully a lot of you guys are going to be sharing that stuff out there. Be really helpful, get the word out. It's funny, like we'll get to Flynn in a minute, but my biggest tweet today, or not even today, it seems like maybe the last month or two, Elon Musk put out this ridiculous timeline of 2 years we're going to send an unmanned rocket ship to the moon, or not to the moon, to Mars, and land it there. And then in 4 years, we're going to send human beings to Mars and land them there. That is not real. Okay? Now, there's a lot of people also in the crowd that, take the position that everything NASA puts out is fake. There's no such thing as satellites. The ISS doesn't exist, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe any of that. Okay? When I look at rocket technology, and I look at those that are also utilizing it, and I look how volatile it is to this day. I post about it all the time. They call it rocket science for a reason, folks. Right? Brain surgery. You're not going to be a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist. There's a reason they talk about those. They're tough. Okay? Rocket technology, is questionable to have taken human beings to the moon and back. I don't think people understand how far that is in relation to other space missions that are within, the 400-mile mark, and usually by far within the 400-mile mark. I don't think they understand how much farther Mars is away. I don't think they understand that. Well, let's take what the what the mainstream narrative surrounding Mars is that it has possibly a habitable planet. In other words, there might have been water there, which means the atmosphere might be there. Might be able to terraform it. Okay, all right. Let's go with that. On a fraction of a scale, how in the world are you going to launch a rocket back up from Mars and bring anybody back? That's not real. Okay? That's not a real thing. Think about the trouble that they're openly having just going to the ISS at this point. Think about that. And I believe the ISS is a real place. And by the way, I did a piece recently on, who was it? Scott Kelly, I think. Scott Kelly has a twin brother, Mark Kelly, who's in the government, Democrat. Oh, man, my knee. All these other things. These people basically can't walk when they get off the space station and get back to Earth. That the lack of a gravitational force just, it hammers their body. Hammers it. All right, so we're going to move on here. By the way, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. By the way, remember, guys, if you like what you're seeing that I'm posting here in regards to my shows, Making Sense of the Madness is on 5 days a week at 5 p.m. Eastern. And just before that, on TNT.news, so it's Patriot TV and TNT.news, TNT.news 3 to 5. Again, every single weekday. Every single weekday out there, guys. So Monday through Friday, you get 3 hours of Bermas. If you want 2 live, by the way. TNT is always live, and it's a 4-guest format 90% of the time. And you get a couple of Bermas rants in the beginning where I talk about the geopolitical arena. And by the way, I think there is a very real geopolitical arena, and that's going to bring me into Flynn and Trump really quickly, okay? First of all, do I agree with everything that General Flynn says or does? Nope. Do I take into account that General Flynn was in the uppermost echelons of the intelligence community? No, I do not. Do I think General Flynn was a danger to the system and targeted during the Trump administration? Absolutely. Absolutely. See, here's the thing, guys. I don't know what we can expect other than people to finally flip and maybe have a mea culpa or two for their past actions. And I truly believe that is what happened with Flynn. Again, imperfect guy, but I'll tell you what, he's one of the driving forces behind that Reawaken America tour, and you can say what you want about that. No one else is giving me the opportunity to speak across the country about transhumanism in an unfiltered manner in front of thousands of people, and then broadcast to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of views overall through the Epic Times, which streams it, and a ton of other platforms out there, right? So that needs to be said. And let me take it a couple steps further when we're talking about Flynn in particular, right? We were able to talk about the assassination attempt of Trump and MK Ultra in the truncated 40 minutes or so with Flynn, right? I think that we got a decent amount out of the guy, right? Like, first of all, Flynn didn't give me a lot of air to talk. Let's be honest. And that's not the first time that I've interviewed him, by the way. Hopefully won't be the last, you know? I'd love to talk to him more. I've asked him questions in the past. He's always been cordial and kind to me. I also believe they tried to blow Trump's head off. And there are a certain number of people that are acting as though that may have been a staged event. No. And look, again, you can judge me all you want. You know how I've been on these ideas of large-scale events where you would have to involve quote-unquote crisis actors. They killed that guy. Like, that dude with his family sitting there, got drug off, stiffer than a board, bloody as hell, dead. The guy on the roof, Crooks, head blown out the back of his skull. They lied about the event top to bottom from the beginning and continued to when, again, once you watch the tapes, saw the video footage from as many angles that came out, and listen, there's got to be 100 plus relevant phone videos out there of that event, easily. We're not seeing any of them. 100 plus, guys. Everybody's got their phone out all day long. Come on. What are we talking about here? So the fact we don't have that, that's alarming. The fact that they tried to say all 8 shots were from Crooks when it was clear that the original volley stopped as the secondary volley engaged him. And then the final kill shot doesn't happen for like 5-10 seconds till Trump's on the ground. Okay? Listen, that's a real event. That wasn't staged to install Trump because he's part of the agenda. No, this is big league politics, everybody. And as much WWE wrestling that goes on, as fake as most of these people are, as much as you shouldn't trust any politician or hero of worship anybody, that's real. That's real. Like, it's hard for me sometimes to grasp why people don't understand that there are multiple layers, multiple agendas, and when you're fucking around to find out in not only a multi-trillion-dollar global economy and cabal, right? We're talking probably, when you look at that cabal and their net worth, the resources, I mean, it'd be hard to make the argument that, I mean, we wouldn't even be in the hundreds of trillions, okay, of interest in that, especially when we're talking about the military-industrial complex, pharma, entertainment, go down the line. And look, Trump's far from perfect, man. But you disrupt that just a little bit, just look where we're at. Just a little bit now. They have moved the sentencing, you know? People were pointing out that Joseph Sweeney and I were talking about the sentencing taking place this coming week in September, and they had moved it back. I interviewed him, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday. A lot of those MSOMs are, well, they're always at least 24 hours plus pre-record. Some are 48, 72 hours. Really depends. So yeah, here's the thing. I've yet to see a really valid argument from my critics that are so mad at me, for daring to have this person on my show or that person on my show. Like, I'm going to say it again. I don't book them. I'm glad to have them. I like to challenge them on their thought process. I like to get them to concede on their points, because there's a lot of China, and they don't want to talk about the Nixon administration and Kissinger and Rockefeller, etc. I'll say this, to people like Steve Bannon's credit, he does, and that influence. And look, like I had one guy on talking China I'm not sure if he was a spook, or I think he was a long time Marine of some sort. So he might have been a spook on top of it. He's an author. He's got this China book. And I think I meticulously break down a lot of these points. And that's the thing. Like, China's 1.3 billion people. Going to be hard to control that many people, but their system over there is more and more being adopted. It's just like when I talk to them about internet censorship, and I go, look, it's no longer Chinese style censorship, right? And then I bring up Dragonfly and Google, etc. You could tell they get uncomfortable a lot when I associate the military-industrial complex, autonomous drones, etc. And look, on the Musk train, I rarely get a chance just to debate Musk with one of his worshipers, which is, you take that with a grain of salt one way or the other. And I would be more than happy to. They're also, on top of what I've been involved in, and again, think about that, guys. I do 15 hours a week now. Yeah, there's some commercial breaks or whatever, but that's on air, 15 hours a week. It's a lot. It's a lot. And again, I want to thank you guys for being along the ride. It's not enough. And for those of you who are craving even more independence, even though a lot of the people that are now involved in this upcoming project that I'm just going to allude to a little bit have been on my show. I've been on theirs. We've been talking for years and years and years. A lot of people are going to be happy with this new loosely knit gang of independent journalists and researchers and writers and people like myself that have been doing this for a very long time. I don't want to name names, but a lot of you are going to be super happy. It's not General Flynn. But I'll say this. Flynn's a big part of Patriot TV. And right now, guys, I'm working behind the scenes to try to get, Patriot TV a little bit more of the love it deserves and people to look at it, because, look, it's not just Jason Bermas that's on there. Stephen Friend, I really like him. For those that don't know who Stephen Friend is one of the FBI whistleblowers that, listen, I've had him on my broadcast. If you haven't seen my Stephen Friend interview, he really does lay out inside the modern FBI and what happens when you push back against their staged events. So Patriot TV, again, I can't thank them enough. You guys wonder why I'm not on YouTube with shorter videos or interviews and talking about supporting the broadcast, etc. Because I have a paycheck right now. And quite frankly, I love all you guys that have financially supported me over the years, through Rockfin or YouTube monetization when it was there, or GoFundMe, or buy me a coffee. But it's not something that I need to do. What I do is I grind on these shows. I think I have, again, really meaningful conversations with, a plethora of perspectives and guests that, obviously wouldn't have been my show 5 years ago. But the other thing is, what's great about this is that 5 years ago, prior to the COVID 1984 nightmare, there were a lot less people awake about a lot of things, especially when we're talking about globalism. And those conversations, I don't think would be as engaging, or I would think a lot of these people would be much more reluctant to concede on points when you're talking about organizations like the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum. Bilderberg is something that I slide into a lot of these interviews that is acknowledged. You know what? Louis Gohmert, there's another one. People are mad I'm talking to Louis Gohmert. It's an awesome interview. Ex-congressman, was the man who got my first video geo-blocked everywhere, that still is, because he dared to say Erica Caramello Bar's real name. And we've said that name, but, you know, I don't want to get Chiaramello'd over here. You know what I'm saying? Ayo! So look, life is good. Love this dog walk. Love nature. We're at the tail end of summer into fall out here in Iowa. And I'm just hoping that we get past the roller coaster of November into January and the entire country doesn't go down. And here's the other thing, you know, a lot of people are mad I'm voting or I'm voting this way. Okay, I'm just honest. Why would I lie to you? I told people, I need to exhaust every avenue out there that is within the mainstream construct, so that eventually, if these things do go off the rails, I can say I tried every single mechanism that was before me prior to whatever catastrophe occurs in this country or around the world. So food for thought. That being said, I'm probably going to do a release or two, at least one with my Derek Bros piece over at TNT. If you didn't know, we have more revelations of spying through your microphone and camera via big tech and the ad agencies, specifically Cox Media Group, that are attached to them. Really interesting story there. And then this coming week is the Summit of the Future with the United Nations and with this kind of new global pledge that's, again, death by 1,000 cuts, by 1,000 treaties, by 1,000 reforms, by 1,000 suggestions. These guys just keep pushing forward. So expect that bros piece and a little bit of a watch along. Guys, thumbs it up, subscribe, share. If you do want to financially support me, the links are down below. Everything from PayPal to buy me a coffee, etc. But remember, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, TNT.news. You can find me 5 Eastern, and then you can find me 5 to 6 Eastern over at Patriot TV. And again, we're going to try to do more and more of this stuff. I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the flip side.